Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minutes or More. I am your humble host, Trae Brooks, and today I have a very special guest who is joined with me.
I'm special?
Yeah, I would say so.
Thanks.
Yeah. So please, if you would be so kind to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm an artist. I'm a friend of Trae's. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Powerful introduction.
That's all they need to know.
Yeah, that's all the people need to know. It's like you don't need to like go too in depth.
We'll get in depth in.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Let's warm up into it. It's like
we'll build into it.
Yeah, it's like it's like a game. It's just like
character building. It's like a story.
It's like an arc, if you will.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Will you?
I don't know. Will you?
Okay. Anyway. So, I guess my first question is, because you mentioned you were an artist, could you maybe describe your work in just like like your
way.
If you want in a succinct way. I was just gonna say like process, what the work's about, how do you go about that, this, that, and third. Yeah.
Okay. So the work that I do right now is mostly painting. I was a printmaker in college, but unfortunately because of COVID, I don't have access to the same studios that I once did.
Mm-hmm.
So what was once me printing and making sigils, which if you don't know what sigils are, it falls under chaos magic. I'm a practitioner of witchcraft, so this my art and my practice are very much tied together. So that's where a lot of the influence comes from for like what I make in terms of like content. But in terms of how I'm making it right now, it's all painting just simply because of convenience. I've been making them both on wood, which you've seen because I've made some for you.
Yeah, thank you by the way.
You're welcome. And as well as either paper, and the wood actually I got for free, which was fun because which is why I've been using it, simply because I don't know, a lot of my work, it's not supposed to be stuffy like high art. I want to mix the ideas of like what is low art or like content that might not be traditional in like a high art setting, something that fulfills a purpose, and I want to bring that into a high art context. So that's kind of the goal of my work, while at the same time like making it a little bit more accessible, because I feel like despite the fact that it's low art, kind of the stuff that I'm doing is not as widely accessible, and I think people are really interested in the whole idea of witchcraft right now. It's not to use the word trendy, but people are interested right now, and it's cool.
It kind of delves into like that new age sort of movement where it's like people are kind of
self-helpy.
Yeah, or just like rediscovering sort of these older traditions or these older sort of
reclamation of.
Yeah, and it's just like it's sort of repackaged in a new way, which I kind of.
I like it.
I kind of get like the trendy thing, just because like I kind of have my own thing about that. It feels very
inauthentic.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't really feel that genuine.
Yeah, and I get that, and I can see how some people like might see the work that way, but I think I don't know, at least I can see the fact that I'm trying to come at it from like a good place. It's not only for like my own healing, and what I make really is kind of an expression of like myself, the world around me, and it kind of helps me process things, but also when I make them for people, it helps you heal and process, or get you what you want. It helps you kind of be who you want to be, which is kind of, I want to help people, you know? So that's kind of my goal with art, is help people.
So would you say then that, like, have you studied at all, like, sort of art therapy or, like, things that sort of delve into, like, the sort of healing aspect of, like, art making and things of that nature?
I actually haven't done much research into art therapy. I want to stay away from the traditional like medicinal.
No, I just thinking plugging in.
It's fine.
Please
like
continue.
I've never. I don't know. I understand the need for traditional medicine, and I completely support traditional medicine. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one of those like. I'm not like an essential oils like type person, but I think that sometimes it just seems so clinical and cold. Like you don't, it doesn't take into account people's feelings and emotions sometimes, and that's kind of what I'm more focused on. I know that art therapy is supposed to be kind of the bridge between the two, but even still, it feels too clinical for me. I'm definitely working outside of that spectrum.
Yeah, like you want to sort of get to the root of it as opposed to.
I want to go people to people rather than big picture.
Yeah, just sort of like rather than sort of like a bridge or like
Yeah.
sort of because that's kind of what art therapy. I don't know. I kind of look at art therapy as like the sort of, I guess you could look at it as a bridge, but like some like as you're saying, like between the sort of physical and like the mental, whereas like I kind of look at it as purely just like, I guess purely just from the spiritual, but I think I mostly look at that just because sort of comparing it to like my work and how and what it does for me, and then also having an interest in art therapy as well, and just like the whole healing aspect of art making.
Where do you want to take your art with art therapy?
That's a good question. I've been kind of thinking about either. I think it would be really, even though I've always, if you know me, like I've always joked about, oh, I would never work with kids, or like I would never be a teacher because I hate kids. Nobody please clip that. But in all seriousness, I think if I had to choose, I would definitely love to work with kids with behavioral problems, and sort of like use art making as like a means to maybe like, help them, or maybe like inspire them to like, hey, if you're going through stuff or whatever, whatever it may be, it's like you can, sort of express yourself through, just make something. It doesn't have, whether it be painting or drawing. If you want to build something, it's just whatever you want, like just whatever you're going through, just
Make something.
Yeah, just let it out and let it sort of create a life of its own. So.
Yeah, and it's funny you say kids with behavioral problems, because that's why I started the arts, was because of me being a child with behavioral problems.
Really?
So it's funny that you say that. I could see that working, because that's what helped me through most of it.
And I think that either that or maybe just like I wouldn't mind working with like the elderly or like veterans.
That'd be cool.
Sort of help them. Yeah,
I think that would help you too. I think getting like some of you like absorbing wisdom.
Yeah, and not even just that, but I just think that like I would want my work to sort of serve like a higher purpose. Because like I feel like a lot of the work is like, at least like now, is very self-serving, which is not a bad thing. Like I think it does.
Great.
Yeah, it does wonders for me, I think. But I definitely see the sort of good in like sort of using art making to like sort of connect with others. That's why like I love doing collaboration so much.
Well, it's funny you say that. I know something we talk about a lot in general is just building kind of community with our art and building community around the arts. So I think it's interesting that we've always kind of had this like connection with that. We've always kind of collaborated or tried to collaborate with each other simply because we both have that kind of tunnel vision on the idea of creating a community not only around our art, but just the healing of others through our art.
Yeah, I think it's good. It should it's definitely something that
we should do more of.
It's definitely something that's like more like it's serving. And but I think going back, you mentioned that sort of like a lot of your work is like driven by sort of like witchcraft or like Wiccan and stuff. I was wondering if you like maybe you can sort of, I guess like
describe it more.
Yeah, or like maybe just like sort of how did you sort of get into that? How did you sort of discover that? Like, was it always there, or were you reading up on this and just like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Like, what was your sort of journey to that like?
So this is just something that's always kind of been in my life. It's always something that like, I mean, I haven't been where I'm at now. This was really a journey to build up to what I'm doing now and feeling confident in my ability to be public with it. And I had been in it for much longer, I think, than other people realize. I just didn't talk about it just because, A, like, I didn't think it was relevant, and like, B, I wasn't educated enough to feel confident to speak out about it. But this is something I've been kind of building up on since I was like a kid. I've always kind of felt this connection to like the world around me, and the idea of kind of manifesting what I want has always been part of my life. Like that's always something I've just inherently done. And then learning then about witchcraft and like the ideas of specifically the chaos magic that I do, the manifestation of what it is that I want by basically, asking the universe really nicely, has just always been something that's been there, but only more recently partially because of just the direction my art started leaning into that as well, and that's kind of what made me lean into it more myself. It's funny, it feels like they were like running parallel paths, and finally they like connected in the middle.
Finally they sort of meet.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of, because I was leaning into it so much more, because it was kind of becoming all consuming, just because it's what I would do in my personal life as well as then my art. I was in college, so that's all I did was my art. But yeah, so that's kind of, and then COVID hit, and I just had, I work from home, and so I just had free time to kind of both research and also get within my own craft and practice and get better. But yeah, that's kind of been that journey.
Yeah, so like that must be an interesting thing, just like to be able to work from home and then have all this time to sort of work on your craft essentially. Because I also know that you have a studio.
Yes.
Yeah, which could you say like where?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
If you're a program,
I will absolutely plug them because I'm sure they would be delighted.
Sure, yeah.
It's the 5 Points Gallery in Torrington. It's the Launchpad program. So I get to rent a studio space from them, and it's really cheap and it's great. And I love it. It's a gorgeous old building, and I've been really wanting to find a space that wasn't my bedroom to work, just because as convenient as it is sometimes to just roll over and have my paints right there, like sometimes it would be like I would roll over and my paint was just everywhere because I would track it in places, and my mom was not appreciating that. So
yeah, I'm sure.
It was nice getting a separate space, and then also kind of having that, like, I think part of the problem with COVID for me in terms of working from home is that everything felt so condensed to my room, because it was my business, my personal life, and my job were all happening in this like 15 feet by 15 feet box. So it was nice. It's just nice having a place that when I need to, I can just go to, and nobody's ever there. It's always empty.
Oh, it must be nice.
Oh, it's great, and it's air conditioned, and there's Wi-Fi, and I can just sit there. I could do nothing, and but I pay for the ability to do nothing, and it's great.
Also, theoretically, you're still like in sort of like the creative mindset, even if you're doing nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm like still processed because I'm staring at all my art, because I have all my art on the walls, and I have everything I'm working on basically in front of me, just to continuously, even if I'm not working on it, it's inspiring the rest of my work.
I gotta say, man, like you're so right about just like just how, if you have like everything in your room, it feels like this condensed thing. Like I feel like for artists, like we need that separation. From like our home to like the studio. Because I remember one of my professors, like before, when I was finishing up my last semester at UHeart, and like I didn't want to use the senior space. I kind of just wanted to have my own thing.
Glad we got that on camera.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that. That was
technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties. They just happened. There you go. They just happened. But going back to what we were talking about earlier. So studio life. So I think I was
talking about the separation.
Yeah, I was talking about the separation where I think artists just need that. I think you can't just have everything
condensed into one place.
Yeah, just because I feel like in a lot of ways it stifles creativity, because I know
you're suffocated.
Yeah, like I know for me it's if I want to, like I'll get up in the morning, whenever I get up, or just during the day.
Usually in the morning.
I get up at midnight. So like usually like I'll have moments where I'm just like I really need to like sit down and like work on this, or like start a new piece or just something. But then as I'm sort of doing it, I'm just like. My bed's like right there. I'm kind of tired.
It's too easy to stop.
Yeah, I'm just like, maybe just chill out for like a little bit. Maybe watch some like YouTube or whatever. And then before you know it, it's like I wasted like 5 hours just chilling. And then I'm just like, shit, I got nothing done and I feel like dog shit.
See, alternately, the only problem with having a separate space is having to get to that space to actually start working. As much as I love my space, and like I'm not gonna leave anytime soon, it is 40 minutes from my house. So anytime I want to make art, I have to like will myself enough to like shower in case I see someone, and like I have to get dressed like a real person. Like at my house, I can be sweaty and like in my PJs, but to go out and like have to like, cause I have to park and I have to walk. so people have to
It's
see
a
me.
commitment.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a
yeah.
whole thing, and I have to make a playlist. You know.
Yeah, it's like it's just like any other job. Where it's like you have,
Yeah,
you have
it's a
to
job.
show up.
It's like making the choice to show up. And I'll be completely frank. I have maybe not got like I've gone to gallery sit for them, but I haven't actually gone to my studio space. I've been there two days in the past 2 weeks, and both of those times I was downstairs. I didn't go up to my studio space because I wasn't like emotionally ready to make some work.
Yeah.
But I've been making other work though. I just haven't been making like personal work.
Just like in the just anything to sort of keep yourself like in that sort of
mindset.
Mindset. Just sort of just make sure like you don't sort of fall too far behind in a sense.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I see with at least like the artists we graduated with, or like just artists in general post grad, is that they drop it off, you know, like they let it drop, and then once you get too long, it feels weird.
Yeah, sometimes like life tends to get in the way.
Yeah.
It's like you have a job, you have like some stuff, family stuff going on, like you're moving, you're thinking about like, oh God, like what are the next fucking 5 years of my life going to look like?
And it's easy to just let the art kind of fall to the back burner.
And then and then honestly, like some people, they're just like, like I just don't do art anymore, which, and you know, oftentimes they make that sort of realization like towards the end, which sucks, like in many different ways. But I think it mostly sucks just because like I can't, like in all honesty, I can't imagine that. Like I can't imagine just like one day waking up and just being like, I don't like doing art anymore.
I couldn't imagine that either.
That's like one of my worst fears in a weird way.
I don't think, I think the fact that you say that though means that it's not going to happen. Like I don't think you're going to wake up one day and be like, art is done, it's canceled, you know? Just because it is so, it's so a part of your life. Like you have found, specifically you have found such a way to like, I feel like anytime I talk to you, you already have a new project, or like one project is finishing, you already have the next one lined up. Like you always have that vision. And I think that it is really easy to let it go on the back burner, but I don't think you could ever let that happen just because it is so ingrained in you. And that's how I feel about myself too. I don't think that I will ever wake up and feel like I don't want to do art, because that's just the only thing I want to do, you know?
Yeah, like it's nice, but at the same time, also sort of like on the flip side of that, it also have like this weird thing where it's just, and I don't know, like maybe you can speak on this too. Like I don't know if you get this feeling where it's just like, at the same time though, like as great as that is, I don't want that to just be me. Like I don't want that to be just my one and only identity trait.
I don't think it is though. Even if you've spent like all your time doing it, you have such a rich life.
But it feels,
your friends, the things we do, like the things we did today, like
I mean, it's definitely centered around art, which is nice, but it's, it's not like I'm doing like the same thing every day. Yeah, but at the same time, I also can't help but feel like, man, I'm just like, I feel like these days I'm like trying to pick up a new hobby or just like do something new, just
read
kind
a
of
book.
Well, but like just like something to where like I'm not like, not to say that like I'm sort of distancing myself from art. It's just that I don't want that to, like, I don't want to go on a date with somebody and just be like, and them asking me like, oh, what do you do? And I'm just like, it's just like, oh, it's just, I just paint and like I just do art, and it's like that's like my one thing that I do, and it's just, that's me, and it's just like, I feel like to somebody that'd just be lame.
See, people ask me, they're like, what do you do for work? And I say art. And then they're like, okay, what do you do for your hobbies? And I'm like, literally any free time that I have is dedicated to the arts. And then I don't get a second date.
Yeah, like for real. It's just like, after that, it's just like, hey, do you want it? Oh, no, not responding. And I'm blocked. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's why I think I tend to try to date other artists, because like it's just,
because they get it. They get it.
Yeah, it's just like it makes more sense, and like I don't have to explain myself. Like I don't know if this happened to you, where it's like I don't have to be like, hey, I kind of don't want to do this thing because I feel like this painting or this piece or whatever thing I'm doing is more important.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's like you feel shitty for saying that, but it's like at the same.
Can I expose myself real quick?
If if you want. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's not in a bad way. Not in like a dark
Okay,
way.
yeah. Just you know, it's just
Artistically expose myself. I literally
Okay.
told a girl one time that art was always gonna be my first love. I was like, I gotta be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
That's always gonna be like the love of my life.
How did they take that?
Poorly.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
What'd they do? Did they get mad?
We broke up.
Ooh.
Not like immediately then, but like
okay.
it was
But
part
still.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really. I would have figured like.
But that's fair though. Like think about that. Like think about your partner coming and be like, there's always gonna be something that's like kind of more. I mean, I'm not saying my art will always be more important than my partner, but
I mean,
it's always like gonna be the thing that's on my mind. It's gonna live rent free in my brain at all hours.
But I don't understand like why that would cause an issue necessarily. Just because, like, you're always gonna have this thing that you're always gonna be passionate about. Like, I feel like anybody is, or like everybody's like that, where it's like, I have this thing or like this stuff that like
that makes me happy.
that makes that makes me happy, and
my
it's just
self-care.
like as long and it's like that's not to say I'm not happy with you. It's just that this is what my soul needs.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like at least it's not like, you know, this other person makes me happy, you know.
Which I mean, hey, no shade to polyamorous people. They can have, you know.
Yeah, of course. I was referring more to like, you know, like cheating
like
type of thing, where it's just like, oh, by the way, I have this.
Sorry, there's somebody better than you.
Yeah.
I love this person more. Yeah. No, nobody likes that, for sure. But
I mean, whoever. I mean, you know, if you're ever were to have the balls to like say that, first of all.
Well, I mean, I had the balls to say art will always be my number one love to somebody's face.
Well, there you go. Wow.
Poorly, but now we know how that goes. So.
Well, hey, now you know. Now you know. It's just like they don't.
But yeah, dating as like an artist is kind of funky. Like having to explain what I do all day. I always feel weird, like being like, yeah, like I'm painting a nude. I'm like staring at, and it's because it's always funny because a lot of my models for my nude paintings are my friends. So having to like explain to like potential love interest that I'm just getting nudes from my friends.
Oh yeah,
all the
like
time.
my friend is just gonna strip naked and like I'm just gonna watch them.
I'm just gonna stare at them for 3
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure like they might sort of be like.
Some people would have. I'm not.
Weird.
I wouldn't date somebody that had an issue with it, but there are people that like.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just because like we're artists and like we don't think it's weird.
It doesn't, yeah.
Because like we're so just like the human body, like you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
like we just look at.
I think it's beautiful, but.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that's it's not to say like
it's not pervy.
Body. Yeah, but I'm just saying like, I feel like if you have like the sort of emotional maturity, you can just be like, nothing weird is gonna go on. Like you're just working. Like you're basically working. Yeah.
That's how you knew who was like with it in art school, was when you had like a figure drawing class with them, and if they like giggled on the first day, that's how you knew they.
Yeah. There's always that one person.
Yeah.
Devin.
Damn. So sorry, Devin.
Hopefully he's not watching. Or actually, no, he will be because he's gonna be a guest soon. But yeah, there you go. But
I like that call ahead to.
Yeah, exactly.
To the future episode.
Of course.
But yeah, no, dating is, and like just all the things we have to do. I mean, at least if you're like me, just the bouncing from like different job to different job, like having to re-explain what it is I'm doing to people. I get so sick and tired of it. I know that sounds like so. I just get like, it's like, how do I explain what it is I'm doing? Sometimes like having to explain like, oh, now I'm into this project, now I'm into this project. Like when you have a consistent job, you only have to explain it really like once.
Right.
And then they get it because that's you doing the same job.
Because I think like the sort of fear that comes with that is they just think you're not stable. Like,
which
like
I mean,
1
I'm
minute.
not, but...
Well, yeah, same dude. It's just like, whereas like 1 minute I'm just chilling, and then the next like I'm taking a drive out to New Haven because I got to work on something over there for no fucking reason. I'm just like, let's just completely on a whim, like that moment. Like no planning, nothing, just on a whim.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, just like my trip to Georgia, which
That was very planned though.
It was planned, but at the same time, it's like I don't think anyone would expect me to like drive all the way down. I think a lot of people did assume I was going to be flying there actually, and I was
Who
like,
would fly right now?
no, but yeah, but like I think it's just a matter of just finding that one person. It's just like. Yeah, it's weird, but it's like I'm okay with it because it makes you happy. So therefore, it makes me happy that you're happy, and like we can just finally be at peace.
Well, that's what everyone wants, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but then when the fuck does that ever happen?
I mean, sometimes.
Spoiler, never. But
That's a lie, actually. My parents are honestly the most in love, happy people I've
well,
ever seen.
well, yeah.
So it does. I swear
That's
to
good.
God.
Yeah, that's good.
I know. Shout out to Wendy and Ramon. Not that they're ever gonna see this. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But
And then I guess like one last question to sort of end off.
yes.
What advice? Because I can tell just from what you've been doing lately that for the most part, you seem like you're doing all right. As far as like sort of, you have a studio, you still working, like you have your own like work at home thing, like you're active.
I have a business.
Yeah, like you have your own business, like you're active, like you're doing stuff. So it's like any advice you want to give to like, people sort of post grad that are kind of like.
Honestly, I'm the last person that anybody should be giving advice to post grad.
Me too, but like I like the meme of it.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was to give anyone advice, honestly, take a break because I don't know. At least for me, I realize that I never take breaks, and even when I do take breaks, it's to come do stuff like this, which is like it's a break still. Like I'm having a good time, but this is still kind of like work mode, Morgan.
Yeah.
Or like even when I go to friends' house sometimes, like I'll bring my work laptop to work on a commission, like a digital commission, or like if I have 5 seconds to sit down, like I open up Photoshop and I get to work. And you know what? While that has helped me get like a little bit of a head start, honestly, I kind of wish I had enjoyed just getting to figure myself out post-grad a little bit more. Like I'm not saying I didn't have time because of like COVID and that helped, but I wish I had just kind of like, sometimes I wish I would just slow down a little and like relax, because I notice I don't really relax anymore, and that's probably like not great for like mental health stuff, but it's fine. Just interview me in a couple months and see how I'm
sure,
feeling.
yeah, you'll be a recurring guest.
Of course. Just like on everyone else's show.
Yeah, but it's important to take breaks. You never want to burn yourself out, especially like if it's a passion.
And don't say no to anything. Well, don't say no, but don't say no to like job opportunities, even if you don't think that you might be good at it. One of the biggest things that helped me was just trying all these weird new commissions. Like, for example, like somebody asked me to make boat flags, like paint boat flags for them, and like I had never worked with that material before. I had never painted a boat flag. I have no idea what the boat flag aesthetic is, but I realized that like I was never going to be able to say that I had done it if I don't do it now and expose myself to that. And then that way, at least now I have that in my back pocket. Like if I ever need to, now I can say I know how to paint boat flags, and so if an opportunity in the future comes up, I can say confidently and charge more, because I now can say like I know that I've done this before, even if it's not what I went to school. Like I'm not doing a single thing I went to school for. Like my major was printmaking, and I've been doing digital illustration, painting things, graphic design. You just take whatever you can get, because honestly, nobody's gonna make it happen but you.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Morgan Bayona, thank you so much.
Thank you. Jade.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes or More with your host, Trae Brooks, Morgan Bayona. Everyone stay safe, be good, and we'll see you in the next one.
Or else.
Yeah, or else. Show up.